we break down a different, randomly selected album from NME Magazine's top 500 albums of all time list. Um, we would like to take a moment to apologize for last episode where we uh, inadvertently used the slur "Sky People" last week,
Hmm.
which is, of course, the bad Navi word for people from Earth. We were contacted by JC himself, and he was quite angry that we would use that kind of word on our platform and spread around such a dreadful missive. So again, to all the Navi humans of Earth and Mr. James Cameron himself, we are very sorry. That ought to hold the SOB Sky people.
Hey, yeah.
Whoa.
Thanks for listening. Please leave us a review, a rating, or find us on TikTok to see what we're listening to on a daily basis. Enjoy the show. But this episode is first brought to you by coming this holiday season from the brand new Pixar AI Studios, which has eradicated the need for human life or thought. They bring you the new Abbott and Elvis Costello Meet Frankenstein, presented in IMAX and Dolby Atmos sound. It didn't cost anything other than zapping the world's water supply. So with the
Oh, that's all.
savings, we can buy more water.
One, one, two, two, two. Yacht two! Yacht two! Okay!
So I did tell you, Helio, that I did not record a full karaoke style theme that I wanted to do.
Hmm.
So maybe let me do this. I'll intro our little sound check segment with a an alternate portion that I wrote. Okay, let me see if I can do this a cappella. Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew Liam and Noel belonged in a zoo, a classic game where stories meet doubt, but in the end, the truth comes out. Now Helio, he'll make the call. Two tales so tall, say true or false. We're playing Norway. Yes, that's right. the the classic Indy 500 traditional game, Norway. But this is Norway My Way edition. So we're gonna let the Gallagher brothers off the hook.
Oh,
Maybe not get sued again. So this time I'm going to read off some wild stories of the chairman, Frank Sinatra's life, for Helio to
oh, I
guess.
love it.
Yeah, tell
Yes,
me if
because
these
this
are.
this week we are featuring who as our artist and
Oh
album?
yeah, if we haven't if we haven't mentioned it,
If you didn't read the
this week,
title, yeah.
yeah, this week the album is number 374 on the NME Top 500 list. Frank Sinatra's "In the Wee Small Hours," which was released April 25th, 1955. So now you have some context on why I've just done all that.
And to quote Step Brothers, this is me, so you know I'm not lying. But when you were singing, you took on the form of an angel. You sounded like Jesus and Fergie.
I always jump in both feet. I mean,
Yeah, I
if
mean,
you've
hey,
listened to us this long, I don't think you're gonna abandon us just because I dropped a little Sinatra on you.
no, marvelously done, sir.
Yeah,
But
maybe we
yes,
can
on
find
with the
maybe
game.
yeah maybe we could find like backing music to drop under that, make it a little give it a little pizzazz. Anyway,
Wait.
all right, true or false? First question. According to a 2011 biography, Frank Sinatra, the boudoir singer, Frank was offered $100 to appear in The Masked Bandit, a pornographic film. Without any inhibition, he featured in the film wearing a mask. Although once he became an established artist, Sinatra tried his best to stop the film from surfacing by calling in favors from his friends in the mob. True or false?
True.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's a little bit of both. It was a long. It was published in that memoir, um, and it's kind of been a long-standing rumor. But
Hmm.
most sources who have actually looked into it think it's false, mostly because no copy of the Masked Bandit has ever been discovered, which, of course, would have been worth millions if somebody had it, sitting in
Yeah,
their attic or
exactly.
something
That's
like
not
that. And
exactly
people
something to
have
sit on.
searched. People have searched for it.
Yeah.
And also that the author of that 2011 biography is kind of well known for playing a little fast and loose with the biographical book facts.
A little bit of yeah, J.
Yeah,
Peterman
so
Kramer
so
stories. Yeah.
probably false.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
All
I
right.
mean, you,
Question.
you had me doubting up until you added the mob part at the end. That's where I'm
Really?
like,
Okay.
okay, yeah.
Well, that was his fault. I'm pretty sure he makes that allegation in the book.
Exactly.
So I've heard. Question or story number 2. After getting into an argument about politics with his date, Frank ordered his bodyguard to throw a plate of sauced spare ribs in her face.
As much as I hate to hear it, true.
It's correct. It is true.
Man.
So this was a first-hand account from his uh, it's like a bodyguard, but I think they call it a body man because he's not just guarding; he's doing things like this basically. But it was a high school friend of Frank's turned body man named Tony Consiglio.
Oh,
Quite a name.
absolutely.
Yeah. Did you want to change your nom de plume for the podcast at any point? Tony
That
Consiglio.
might that might be on the very very short
All right.
list.
Well, we'll shelve that.
Yeah.
So he said, quote, I went to her room and knocked on the door. She opened the door wearing a beautiful light chiffon dressing gown over a transparent white negligee, and I told her I was sorry to bother her, but Frank had insisted that I deliver these spare ribs. And when she reached out for the plate, I hit her in the face with the ribs, sauce and all. I apologized and went back to Frank's suite. Yeah, so apparently Tony was actually pretty legendary for keeping Frank's secrets for incidents and things like these. Even after Sinatra had died in 1998, but he did kind of open up a few months before his own death, Tony's death in 2013 or so. I don't have that
Yeah.
exact year, so don't quote me on that.
No, but I mean, I think at a certain point, everybody in the stories are all gone. It's kind of like, why not, give the world a.
who's
a-
it hurting?
And by the way, we may be laughing a little bit, but we in no way or shape or form encourage like the
No,
abuse of
that's a-
ribs. I mean, that's
a bad
just
thing.
yeah,
That's-
wasting ribs like that is just kind of
as a,
insulting.
as a weapon, as a force for evil, that's just
Yeah, no,
no.
not
Frank's,
cool.
Yeah, Frank's got his dark side, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Story number 3. Frank was a good friend of Don Rickles. That's the story. Sorry. That's the entirety of it. Frank was a good friend of Don Rickles.
Well, I originally had a picture of Frank and Don Rickles as our background for the day before I put the album cover
Wow.
on.
Shit.
So,
You think you know.
so part of me says yes, but
the
the other
question
part of me
is-
says maybe they just ran in the same circles but hated each other. So I'm curious on what that answer is.
I think this is true.
Okay.
But mostly it's mostly an excuse for me to play this Johnny Carson show from 1976 clip of Frank. If you've got that queued up.
Absolutely, I do.
Listen, can I tell a story about
Sure.
what this man did to me once? You may have known or heard about this. It was a true story. This is a long time ago, long before Don got married. I was eating dinner in a restaurant in New York, and I was sitting with some friends, and he came over to the table, and he said, Frank, do me a favor, will you? He said, I'm sitting with a very pretty girl, and I'm trying to make out, and he said, I told her I know you, and she really doesn't believe me. Would you stop by the table? I said, all right. I was just about finished. I was down to the espresso. And finally, he went back, and I walked by the table, and I said, how are you, Don? Nice to see you. He said, can't you see I'm eating, Frank? What are you doing? And I went for the whole thing. I stood with my mouth open.
Yeah, it sounds like Don Rickles, all right.
Yeah, that's classic. That's classic Rickles right there.
That's pretty good.
All right, final
Love it.
story. I believe you're 2 for 3 here. I can't even remember how many I've read off. It's early in the
The
morning.
first one's kind of a gray area.
Yeah, that's true. It's like I guess it's like 2.2.
2.5.
Yeah. Final story. Sinatra was considered for the role of Dirty Harry before Clint Eastwood got the role?
No, I don't think that's true.
You know what? You're technically going to get this. Because
Ooh, okay.
he was
I like technically.
not considered role. He had the role. He said he had to drop out because he had injured his hand while filming The Manchurian Candidate, which he said would. I think I saw that too. Had a little.
Yeah, if you just want to take the answer again.
Okay.
You cut out.
From the top.
Yeah, after I say, I think that's false.
Okay. All right. But we're all good again? We're looking good again? Okay. There we go. So, technically, I'm going to hand you this one. It is false because Sinatra was not just considered for the role of Dirty Harry. He had the role. He was cast as Dirty Harry, but had to drop out because he injured his hand while filming The Manchurian Candidate, which he said would make it hard to handle a gun in the movie. Clint Eastwood was telling this tale actually on MTV News in 2009. Apparently.
Wow.
But yeah, Eastwood said he called that, quote, a pretty lame excuse. But other sources say it was probably because Frank didn't want to do the role after his friend director Irvin Kershner had dropped out. If Irvin Kershner sounds familiar, that's because he directed Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, okay. I thought so.
And also RoboCop 2.
Really? And he was attached to direct Dirty Harry.
Yep.
Huh.
And dropped out, along with Frank Sinatra. So, yeah. Fun facts to start your show off.
I mean, a
That
Clint
was,
Eastwood interview on MTV News in 2009.
Yeah,
That's going to be like
yeah.
Gran
We already
Torino
have a lot
press
of
circuit.
we've
Yeah.
got a lot of odd stuff already going on.
Definitely, yeah.
and we've only just completed the
We've only
soundtrack
just
question.
begun.
Exactly. Well,
Interesting.
How-
I mean,
yeah.
I didn't realize how many movies he had done until reading through some of the stuff about him and like, oh,
Yeah.
he's kind of
I
all over
was
the place.
I was kind of aware, but yeah, not aware of the entirety.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Definitely. All right. Well,
Let's
shall we
jump
get to the meat?
in. Yes.
All right.
As some of this list is kind of absurd, and Patti Smith, she used the N-word, and it's a podcast and you will love it. It's the Indy 500.
The
Well, at least
classic.
Patti Smith didn't use the word sky people. I mean, just got that going for her.
That was us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, from what I read, Frank, I don't think Frank would have supported Patty on her campaign to take it back. He was a big supporter of civil rights.
He was. He was a good dude. Well, some of the stories at least. Not the ribs. I'm still a little bent out of shape on that one.
He's a land of contrasts.
Yeah, exactly. He's a complicated character. Should we learn a little bit more about him?
Yes, please.
All right. Well, let's see. Instead of the usual word burger, I think we actually have a guest to introduce us this time on Mr. Frank Sinatra.
Excuse me. Are you reading Yes, I Can?
Yeah. Have you read it?
Yeah, by Sammy Davis Jr.?
Yeah.
You know what the title of that book should be? Yes, I Can, but Frank Sinatra says it's okay. Because Frank calls the shots for all those guys. Did you get to the part yet where Sammy's coming out of the Copa, and it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he sees Frank. Frank's walking down Broadway by himself. Fucking ladies.
Well, you know, they're not
Yeah,
They're not used to
yeah.
that world,
Yeah,
Frank
I know.
Sinatra. It's a different
It's,
world that they're in.
You know, it's just people like this, they get all they want, so they don't really understand, about a life like Frank's. I mean, when you've loved and lost the way Frank has, then you know what life's about.
Couldn't have said it better myself than Mr. Bruno Kirby. So let's dig into a little bit about Frank Sinatra. Old Blue Eyes, aka the chairman of the board, aka Frank Sinatra, aka Francis Albert Sinatra, aka Caustic Window, aka AFX, Richard D. Oh, wait, that's AFX Twin running together from last week. Frank was born. Exactly, it happens. Happens sometimes. Frank was born December 12th, 1915, in Hoboken, New Jersey. Even the story of his birth kind of makes you see what a strong-willed soul Frank is. When he was born, he was 13 and a half pounds, which, well, I guess we haven't given birth to a baby, but we have kids, so we know how big of a baby that is. And had to be removed at the time by forceps. C-section births weren't really a common thing until like the 50s or 60s due to lack of proper anesthesia. So yeah, that's a big boy. His grandma had to resuscitate him by running him under cold water. And because of the tools, he suffered permanent scarring to his left cheek, neck, ear, and left eardrum. So then a childhood operation left more scarring on his neck, and his teenage years brought on acne that caused scarring. But in spite of all that, hope for all of us out there, the man became an all-time heartthrob. So you greasy, pockmarked teenagers with your birthmarks and everything, don't give up just yet. Just learn to sing like Frank can and get that swagger. You'll be all right.
It gets better, and also
It gets better.
They invent new creams and solutions
all the
year
time
for that sort of thing. Just check it out.
New patches, new AI photo removers and enhancers. All the good stuff.
I'm sure a doctor would be happy to prescribe the stronger stuff too. So
Oh yeah. Yeah,
for all,
absolutely.
For all the teenagers listening to the Indy 500 podcast, there's your advice.
For all one of you, maybe. So, speaking of teenagers, Frank, at the age of 13, had taken an interest in music. A lot of the stuff of the times, big band, jazz, and definitely Bing Crosby was his number one. He was given a ukulele for his birthday by his uncle. He would perform at family gatherings, around schoolyard, and he even was kind of like early on just the organizer, the chairman. He was organize bands.
So you're saying he's a person with a ukulele, basically.
Exactly. I mean,
maybe
later replaced
it's
by
a little different these days, but yeah,
it's an
Frank
acoustic
Sinatra
guitar
being a
maybe these days.
ukulele
but-
teen is that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. He was organizing bands around the school dances so he could perform.
Sorry, I hope our one teen who was listening is not also a ukulele teen. We may have lost the entire demographic.
If he's a Sky person ukulele teen, we are just firing on all cylinders today. He was so consumed with music that he only attended 47 days of high school, being expelled for general rowdiness, whatever that entails. Couldn't find an exact story. I'm sure there's a biography out there that somewhere might have that detail, but yeah, I didn't make it through. So again, if you are expelled for general rowdiness, don't give up just yet. After high school, he attempted to attend business school to make his mom happy, but that didn't stick either. He kind of knew what he wanted to do, which was music. He ended up working a series of jobs that really had no big influence on him. But Frank, worked during the day. He uses evenings and weekends to try to sing at clubs, sing on the local radio stations, even just getting out there and busking, crooning on the streets to earn money for meals and cigarettes like a good boy. Some of that money, though, went towards elocution lessons so he could shed that first-generation Italian immigrant accent and kind of get more of that Bing Crosby, pronounced American sound, so to speak. It did take a little bit of work to deprogram, but I think, you can still hear the New Yorker, the New Jersey kid in him, even in the later years. I mean, it's not all the way gone.
Where you kind of you shoot for the moon and land in the stars. Like
exactly.
Not getting rid of it 100% was a good thing.
Right. If you land in Newark, you're doing good. Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, he got there, and 1938, Frank got a job as a singing waiter at a joint called the Rustic Cabin. that also was partnered with the local radio station WNEW, WNEW in Jersey, and he began performing live on one of the shows. Shortly after, he had an opportunity to record on a song called Our Love that was being recorded by a Jersey friend of his by the name of Frank Main. A few months later, he was signed on to be a singer for trumpeter and big band leader Harry James. And at the time, Harry had inked him a 2-year contract to be a singer of his band for $75 a week, which, doesn't sound like a lot, but 1938, 1939, that's now $17.50 a week to be singing for a big band for 2 years. So in James's band, he was able to release his first record, From the Bottom of My Heart, which sold under 10,000 copies, and later was reissued because, oh my God, it had Frank attached to it. So talk about, finding those little things to make money off of. This is one of them. After joining,
and that's that's why they that's why they're pretty sure the mass bandit doesn't exist, because people will dig and reissue anything.
Right, like exactly that. Yeah, unless like somebody is, well, not literally sitting on, that's kind of gross, but unless somebody has that film somewhere and just, yeah, exactly, private screenings only, then good for them, but I don't think it happened. Yeah. So after joining with James in March of 1939, he left to join trombonist and band leader, or tromboner, if you will, band leader Tommy Dorsey's outfit in November of 39, and he was up to making $125 a week. I'll let all you mathematic experts do the math there, but suffice to say, making more and more money. Not only was this where Frank kind of had his mainstream breakthrough, big band, and guys like Tommy Dorsey were actually a big deal at the time, but where he became a teen heartthrob as well, and the reason to draw in the female viewers. So Tommy Dorsey played a huge role in Frank's life as a mentor, father figure, professional role model, and he was even Frank's daughter's Nancy's godfather. At the same time, another iconic musician was in Tommy Dorsey's troupe, and that was all-time drumming legend Buddy Rich, another big, outstanding, outrageous, over-the-top personality. There's a lot of anecdotal stories to suggest that Frank and Buddy were rivals, both thinking they should be headliners, they should be the stars, and I don't think anybody would disagree with that. When the two guys underneath the guy, are that big, yeah, you're going to have some tension going on. But despite all the rivalry and the tough times between the two, in actuality, Frank was a really good friend to Buddy. He advanced him $25,000 to get his solo career going. He paid for Buddy's medical bills as he was sick later in life, and he really looked out for him and appreciated him. Whether or not they're best of buds, that I can't really speak to, but it does sound like Frank had a good heart when it came to Buddy. But yeah, just a side note too, I played trombone for 8-9 years in school band and everything, and there's not a lot of like trombone players to look up to. So trumpet players had Miles Davis, sax players had Coltrane and Charlie Parker, and everybody, drummers had Buddy Rich, but Tommy Dorsey was kind of like the guy when it came to trombone. It's definitely not like the sexy go out and solo like on a sax or trumpet instrument, but it's a strong bass backing horn, but the man could lead. He'd lead the band, he could solo with the rest of them. He was a pretty damn good player, and he really got the best out of the instrument. So hats off to Tommy Dorsey, one of the few.
Yeah, and I'm gonna chalk this up to it being early morning, but the trombone is the one with like the sliding portion, correct? Okay, yeah.
In all my old soul wise maturity, I got the instrument and I picked it out because I realized I could hit people in the back of the head with it,
Yes.
with the slide and everything. So, but no, I mean, it for me, it began a lifelong, love affair with playing music. So, I mean, grateful for the time on that horn. So in Frank's first year with Tommy Dorsey, he recorded 40 songs. He had his first hit in April of 1940 with the song Polka Dots and Moonbeams. The song Imagination was his first top 10 hit. He had 10 more records as part of Tommy Dorsey's band between 1940 and 1942, before Frank wore down Tommy enough to let him record a few solo tracks independent of Tommy. After hearing the recordings, Frank believed he had what it would take to go solo and to compete with Bing Crosby. So he thought pretty highly of himself at this point, just for a young man. But hey, proof's in the pudding on that one. After a legal dispute with Tommy Dorsey over the contract he signed when joining the band, the dispute being that 43% of Frank's lifetime earnings would go to Dorsey.
Lifetime. Woo.
They eventually settled, and Frank was out on his own. Now, of course, Frank, not having any mob connections or tough guy connections at all, settled it in a completely legal and above board manner. And he did not, I repeat, did not have his mobster godfather, Willie Moretti, stick a gun in Tommy Dorsey's mouth and told him how much money he'd be getting for letting Frank out of his contract. So from that point on, Frank and Tommy Dorsey, despite their prior relationship, as you can imagine, if this mobster did this alleged thing, which he didn't, they never reconnected. It's all
really?
it's all hearsay. Yeah. So, father figure to here's how much money you're getting, leave me the fuck alone, kind of thing. So at this point, call it boy band, pop star, whatever you want to call it. In 1942, Frank was the top polling artist in every magazine for the teenage girl demographic, also known as the Bobby Soxers. And a lot of the girls called themselves the Sinatrix. Sinatrix, there we go. Maybe what is that? Hold on, doing math in my head. 80-year precursor to Swifties. He was marketed as a shy, vulnerable Italian-American boy from a rough family. And it's sold. He captured the market. He signed with Columbia Records in June of 1943, which was smack dab in the middle of a 2-year musicians strike, interestingly enough. And musicians, not singers, mind you, musicians. So Columbia had re-released some of the Harry James era material, and the song All or Nothing at All had reached number 2 on the charts. During the strike, the labels couldn't use instrumentalists. They could use singers. So Columbia had recruited the Bobby Tucker Singers, and Bobby Tucker was actually a pianist who went on to accompany Tony Bennett, Billie Holiday. But at the time, he pivoted to an a cappella singing group so he could keep making money. So this group of a cappella artists was used as a backing band, so to speak, so that way they could record more Frank's music and get it out, because you got to seize the moment. I mean, obviously, we know hot today, not tomorrow, so just do it. By the end of 1943, Frank was rated higher than Bing Crosby in popularity polls and papers and magazines and everything. So, I mean, safe to say at that point, like,
He did it.
he did it his way. He got there. Luckily, for Frank, Frank didn't have to serve in WW2, but did perform several overseas USO shows. He was actually ruled ineligible because of, like we mentioned, at his birth, he had that left eardrum damage. But, there's a little bit of anecdotal stuff out there. It was ruled due to his emotional instability he wasn't allowed to serve. It was ruled because he was connected, he didn't have to serve, and he could serve his country better this way, by singing and performing. The rumor, and this is, again, 1942 money, that the label actually had offered some of the government officials $40,000 to get him out of service time. But everybody today says, no, that's hearsay. That's not true. But yeah, Frank was working his butt off, though, all the same, performing on stage 40 times a week. And that's not a typo, not a misprint. Like, he would do multiple shows a day, singing up to 100 songs a day. And he was earning $93,000 a day, which equates to $1.6 million in today's rate. So not only was this man working his ass off, he was earning his ass off, building up a pretty good savings there. So 1946, strikes resolved, war's over. He released his first album on Columbia, The Voice of Frank Sinatra, which does hit #1 for 7 weeks and sold 200,000 copies. Another album in 47 and a Christmas album in 48 helped to continue Frank's run. But as we know in the pop machine, nothing lasts forever. He appeared in a movie, The Miracle of the Bells, as a priest and faced a lot of backlash because everybody thought, not proven, of course, that he was connected to the mob. And it kind of felt a little blasphemous for this mafioso tough guy, allegedly, to appear as a priest. Because priests can never be criminals or bad guys.
And of course, before this, only good people ever starred as clergy in movies.
Oh yeah, exactly. You had to go through a whole test and rigor and everything. Yeah. But as a show of good faith, he donated the $100,000 he made on the movie to the Catholic Church because they needed the money, clearly. In that same poll, he was #1 in 1946, Downbeat magazine. He had now fallen to the #4 spot in 1948. So begins the descent. The same magazine did him no favors. The album Frankly Sentimental, get it, Frankly Sentimental?
Yeah, I see what he did there.
Upon its release, they panned it, and it contained his last single on Columbia, The Hucklebuck. I don't know why that didn't take
That
off.
sounds wonderful. We should have clipped the Hucklebuck.
It's never too late, truly.
Okay, yeah.
Here's a clip of The Hucklebuck, hopefully. And
This
there
is
you
where
go.
we want the Hucklebuck.
All right.
It's going to be
and-
Doobish, I bet.
Oh, I mean, with a name like that, how could it be anything but grand? In 1950, Frank's publicist George Evans had passed away. This is the guy that basically cultivated the aura and persona, of Frank that got him to where he was. And he was so over, with that Bobby Sucks teenager crowd that are now becoming, adults. At the same time, his marriage was falling apart due to an affair with actress Ava Gardner. Frank and his first wife actually married in 1939 and then divorced in 51. He then went public with his relationship with Ava Gardner. But due to his slumping sales and divorce, and Frank also faced financial difficulties, he had to borrow up to $200,000 from Columbia to pay back taxes, which is about $2.5 million today. Yeah. At this time, he started taking up gigs wherever he could, and there was this weird little desert outpost for GIs out in Nevada somewhere. I think it was called Las Vegas or something like that. Kind of up and coming. Probably nothing would come of it. But yeah, even in a market that was stars and entertainment, his attendance was dropping. Reports were venues in Chicago that could hold 1,500 people were only 10% full. So if you can imagine walking in something like the Moore or the Paramount, and here's Frank Sinatra. Oh, 1 in every 10 seats is full. I couldn't even imagine such a thing these days. It's crazy to me. The Vegas crowds were half empty, and he was even at this point performing at county fairs. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Weird.
But
That's Weird Al's bread and butter.
Exactly. I mean, even
Weird Frank. He was Weird Frank.
Weird Frank. I think even Ice Cube is headlining the Puyallup Fair this year. So I'm
Ooh.
there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe then it was a little bit of a
and see Ice Cube.
ooh, dare to live the American Puyallup dream. But with all this being said, the money, the sagging attendance, the sagging popularity, the sales being down, Columbia had decided they were done with Frank. In the fall of 1952, had cut ties with him, and that's the
Dropped
end.
by his label.
Yeah. From one to out on his ass.
Yeah. Well, we've paraphrased a few movies on this episode, but I'm going to do another. A favorite of mine, Basketball. It certainly does seem to be raining shit on Frank Sinatra. Well, will he ever recover? We will find out after a patented Outcast themed break. Okay. News items of the week. As we step away from Frank for a second and back into the modern world. I have written down here how was the Gorillaz album? Because we started our notes before it had come out. Did you get to listen to any of it?
I had it on. It didn't. It didn't. I mean, didn't wow me. Admittedly.
No, I didn't like it. A lot of
Yeah.
people do like it though, so you don't have to take my word for it. I've heard a lot of people say
Hey, yeah, exactly.
I've heard a lot of people say they like
Can't
it.
like them all.
Yeah, that it's their best since whatever. But personally, for me, I'm officially declaring the Gorillaz an Eagles ratio band. Um, they have enough tracks for like a really phenomenal, small best of album, but like pretty much anything that is not going to be on that best of album, like I do not like. Sorry, Gorillaz.
Yeah,
Sorry, Mr.
and I
Alvin.
think
This is an Oasis aligned podcast.
that's yes, there is that. I think we kind of had mentioned that or discussed that a little bit too. Like, where do you stand on Blur? I mean, are you much of a
They're
fan?
kind of in the same. They're kind of in the same situation. Like the stuff that I like from Blur, I really, really like, and the rest of it is like very much. I could leave it.
Yeah, I mean, big surprise out there that I should say pretty much similar opinions on both. Like, the good stuff is great, and then the rest of it, I do not give a shit.
Yeah, I think. I think we both mentioned we of course love song 2. But
yeah.
personally, I think Coffee and TV from Blur is like one of my like favorite songs of all time from that whole era. So I can't.
That is pretty good.
I could never throw them away completely.
No, and I mean, again, like Clint Eastwood, and there's plenty of Gorilla songs too that are good and super important hits over the years. But yeah, for the most part, I think I will hand it to him for the artistic crossover of it all and just kind of the characterization and
Oh yeah,
that part's fun.
yeah. We love a good cartoon band here at IFP. We're big
Totally.
Metalocalypse and Monkeys supporters. I guess the Monkeys
Exactly.
were primarily a cartoon, but
I mean, maybe a cartoon come to life. Yellow Submarine, always a
Yeah.
fan of that for sure.
yeah.
So what else we got this week? Or last
I
week?
wrote down, and I don't have any notes about this, so hopefully you remember. I just wrote down 2 words: Rock Hall. I think that's something they do yearly. That's not like every 4 years.
No, it's a yearly thing, which is kind of good and bad, right? I mean,
I
it gets a
recall
little.
that you said Billy Idol is back in contention.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting name. Bear with me here. I'm gonna run through it real quick. About 20 names. And you can give me a quick yay or nay. Actually, how about that? We'll just do a little
I'll
speed
try
round.
and- okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Black
you
Crowes.
say the name and no.
Jeff Buckley.
Yes.
Mariah Carey.
Probably.
Cher.
Yes.
Phil Collins.
Probably.
Dave Matthews Band.
No.
I think not
and,
yet.
and for the record, my yeses and nos are on like if I think it's kind of like half if I think and half if I think they deserve
Would you
to
vote
be
for
in
'em?
this
Yeah.
year, like on this ballot. They may come back. They may they
Yeah.
may get another chance, but that's my yeses and nos. I'm not like
Okay.
I'm not like shutting the door on everybody here.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if only they let in everybody every year, but then it probably wouldn't be as exclusive,
Okay, keep going.
Melissa Etheridge,
Probably, maybe.
Eric B. and Rakim.
I don't know. I know their names come up historically for hip hop, but I don't know enough about them. I do know they're on
Yeah.
the enemy list though.
Yeah, they are. That's a good point. I mean, yeah, Outkast got in, so why not? Jane's Addiction.
Probably not.
I think there's a sports thing that gets thrown around often. It's the Hall of Very Good, but not like the Hall of Fame, where it's like Jane's Addiction is a very
I don't
good
think
band,
they're
but are they
first- I
Hall
don't
of
think they're
Fame?
first ballot, but like if
Right.
next year's crop is not that hot, then yeah, they'll probably in.
Right, and yeah, I mean, we haven't even gotten some of the bigger names on here. Lauryn Hill,
Yeah, probably.
Billy Idol.
Yeah, now that it's his second ballot, I think he probably
Yeah.
gets in there.
In Excess.
Probably not.
Yeah. Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know what
We-
I don't know how the hall feels about metal really, but they probably should be.
yeah, I mean, if not them, then who? I found this one interesting, but I guess understandable. Joy Division / New Order.
Yes.
I think it's interesting that they pair them, but I mean, like, as there's clearly a singular member difference.
Those are definitely two different bands, but I mean, yeah, obviously a lot of people
like
hold them.
Pearl Jam
hold
and
them
Mother Love
together,
Bone
but-
didn't go in together.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, probably. He's very.
He's iconic.
He's very Rock Hall coded too. He's yeah,
He's a
got that
VH1
kinda-
face,
Yeah, he's got that. Yeah, he's got that. He's got what he's got, and he's also got like general popularity at the same time. So it feels very
Totally.
Yeah, he's very Rock
and
Hall-y.
a famous Schwanz. That doesn't hurt. Lenny Kravitz, who just did New Edition.
Probably not.
This one, always a fun one. Oasis.
Of course.
I mean,
they were up last. Were they up last year? Or is this their first year?
the second year.
Okay,
This year, yeah.
they should have gone in last time. So
Yeah, I mean, maybe now that they're back and performing again, they'll let them in. So we're not having to wonder if they'll play or not.
yeah, I think that may overcome probably the myriad amounts of quotes. Well, didn't we? Yeah, that's right. Didn't we have a quote last time we were talking Rock Hall where one of them basically said, like, if they get in, the Rock Hall is great and correct, and if they don't, then the Rock Hall is dumb and bad.
Exactly. Pretty much. Yeah,
Perhaps their comeback tour can overcome that kind of quote that probably was affecting.
I mean, yeah. If that's the quote of all quotes that does them in, then shame on the Rock Hall for not doing their research. Like they've
there's
said
plenty
far
more
worse.
quotes that should do them in.
Yeah, just listen to some of the previous episodes on our games. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Pink.
Maybe.
Sade.
No, actually, hold on. I'm gonna say Pink, no, because Cher is also on the list, and those are
Yeah.
two. Yeah, we
That's,
we were just texting about when we were gonna have to talk about gay icons on the show, and here we are. Yeah, I think if you've got Cher on the list, then there's no chance that Pink is also getting in. So,
There's
sorry.
such a disparity on the levels of those two. Yeah, it's kind of hard to apples and apples that one.
They're in this. They're competing in the same ballpark, but Cher is the Otani of this particular genre.
Right. That doesn't mean the other people aren't good. And actually,
Yeah.
the next couple kind of all fall in that same discussion. So I'll read off a couple. So Pink, Sade, Shakira, Sinead O'Connor.
I think in their Sinead O'Connor is a shoe-in, and I think Sade should be a shoe-in. Everyone else.
Sade should be a shoe-in. Should Shakira?
Yeah.
Wow. I think, Shakira is an interesting one because I think she's bigger internationally than she is here. So it's kind of one of those, like, how much of the voting
Yeah.
is American, so to speak,
Yeah. That's one. Yeah. Some of these we gotta step back and let other people talk.
Yeah.
The numbers on like views for Bad Bunny's halftime show are out of this world. So obviously there's a bigger audience than just us now.
Right. Oh, exactly. It's a global thing for sure. Last two here, Luther Vandross.
Maybe.
I mean, it's
see
really
it.
it's really pushing Rock Hall, but I mean,
It's kind of the music hall with like
right.
Yeah.
A hall of great pop
What are they
music,
gonna do?
in a
Yeah.
sense.
What are they going to do? Call it the pop hall? Like nobody wants
I
that.
mean, never know. Might open the door for some more things. And lastly, the RZA, the Jizza, Watch Your Neck for Inspect the Deck, the Wu-Tang Clan.
They're in. They got
Yeah.
it. They should be in.
Yeah, I would agree. All right. So yeah, that's Rock Hall. I think again, those are announced later in the year. You can vote online, and
I'm sure we'll talk about it.
you can argue along with
Oh yeah, I
us as
forgot
to
that we
why.
can vote in that. So
Why Oasis
support all
is
my
seventh.
guesses.
Yeah. Why Jeff Buckley gets in before Iron Maiden, other strange things. What else we got?
Yeah, some quick hits here. Metallica at the Sphere. Yeah, Metallica is gonna do a thing at the Sphere.
It's like a 6-week, every weekend, 2 concerts, no repeats is what they bill it as.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I don't know. Maybe you can correct me, but I don't really associate them with being a big visuals act. So, like, do they have like signature stuff that they're gonna shoot around the Sphere?
When
or, like-
I've seen them, no, I would actually agree with that. Pyrotechnics, yes. Obviously sound and just kind of general stage vibe and presence. So adding one more element to that, it's gonna make for a hell of a show for sure.
Yeah, so I'm pretty curious as to what they deploy there. I guess we'll see. I also wrote down here, Dennis Miller voice. I haven't seen this many 40-year-old white men interested in a metallic sphere since the 1975 action classic Rollerball, starring James Caan.
Oh wow, that is Dennis. That's well done, sir.
Listen, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but that would have been A+ Dennis Miller content if
Oh,
if he
absolutely.
would have said something like that. So, yeah. And then finally, Tomahawk is back.
Friend of the
Featuring
podcast,
friend
John
of the
Stanier.
pod.
Yes.
Yeah. Stanier's back behind the kit, along with Mr. Bungle himself.
Mike Patton, Trevor Dunn.
Patton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that might be on the short list of things I got to see this year.
Yeah, that'd be neat. And
If nothing
we
else,
can-
I can bring John Stanier lasagna or something.
Yeah, we can see if he remembers.
Yeah.
See if
Oh
he
yeah,
remembers talking to the Indie Ravager podcast.
exactly. Those two
Remember the
guys
place where you
that,
debuted the existence of your new album and it didn't make any kind of waves?
remember talking about how you were responsible for new metal?
Yeah. Well, that's the news. Shall we? I was going to say jump back into the album, but really, we're jumping back into the context of the year that the old album came out in.
I think my feelings about the upcoming segment can be best summed up by a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, and that's "Take me
Oh.
away, I don't mind, but you got to promise me we get back in time."
Yeah, let's hit us up. Yeah, this time we're going way back.
Yeah, I might let this machine go for a little bit.
Yeah, you might
Up
wanna
60s.
hit that one more time just to make
and-
sure.
Yeah, we're going all the way to the 50s, folks.
Yeah, let's roll.
59 and 55. There we go.
Wow. Here we are in the year 1955. We're finally not going to have to talk about Bill Clinton.
Or Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, so once again, Frank Sinatra's In the Wee Small Hours, number 374 on the Enemy List, released April 25th of 1955. So, maybe we can put like the newsreel sound underneath this, like the,
Dun, 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 dun,
the
dun,
little
dun,
fanfare
dun,
music.
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
News you can use.
News of the world, the number one song in the USA. Now a quick note just before here. The Billboard chart at the time of this release is just before they actually established like a unified top 100 list. So right now they have separated lists by bestsellers in stores, most played by radio jockeys, most played on jukeboxes, and a quote honor roll of hits. But lucky for us in the USA on this day, all four are the exact same thing. And it's a song called The Ballad of Davy Crockett by Bill Hayes with an orchestra conducted by Archie Blair.
All right, let's hear it.
Davy Crockett, the king of the wild frontier. Born on a mountaintop in Tennessee, the greenest state in the land of the free. Raised in the woods so they knew every tree, and killed him a bar when he was only 3. Davy Crockett, the king
Yeah, throw
of
that
the
on the
wild
jukebox one more
frontier.
time.
He fought single-handed through the Injun War till the creeks was whipped and peace was in store. And while he was handling his risky chore, he made his...
Just imagine cruising down the road, blasting that out of the car, throwing
Oh, yeah.
gang signs.
They were,
and, yeah.
they were bumping. The Ballad of Davy
Yeah.
Crockett back in 1950.
Oh my gosh, jeez.
So the reason that this song was so forward in the national consciousness was that it debuted along with a ABC TV special that was showcasing the opening of the Anaheim Disneyland, where of course they have Frontierland, which was basically Davy Crockett Land back then. And,
Yes.
that's like the theme song. They had like special theme songs for each land, and that was the one for Frontierland.
Okay, that makes sense.
It also had a it also had a bit of a second wind when it was featured multiple times in Back to the Future, where Marty in fact travels back to 1955. So if you need, if
Oh,
you're,
my
if
little
you're,
my little Huey
yeah,
Lewis tie-in there is actually pretty
if-
spot on then.
if you're trying to imagine, I mean, if you're our age and you're trying to imagine this time, it's the Back to the Future 1 time.
Yes.
Crispin Glover getting a milkshake slid to him.
Don't think your kids are ready for this.
the
Yeah,
thing,
quite
yeah.
yet.
Exactly. Over in the UK, the number one single was a version of the song Earth Angel by a Canadian doo-wop quartet called the Crew Cuts. And
Crew Crutz
yeah,
Cran.
yeah, basically, I was going to say the Crew Cuts is frankly the most 1955 band name of all time. And I
Yeah.
believe we have a clip.
The well, we're gonna start our group, the Broccoli Hair, after this. So
Yeah, there you go.
thank you, for Crew Cuts, for the inspiration.
Earth angel, will you be mine? My darling dear, love you all the time. I'm just a fool in love with you.
All right, I gotta get to the Under the Sea dance here real quick.
Yeah. So yeah, as he mentioned, Earth Angel, I believe the the original version, or it may be just a much better cover, is featured in Back to the Future, being covered by Marvin Berry and the Starlighters at the Under the Sea themed dance at Hill Valley High. But the Crew Cuts, so they were a group who mostly made their bones, quote unquote, covering. Some may say plundering songs that were actually written or
Sampling,
originally
if
performed
you will.
Originally written or performed by black doo-wop artists, and Earth Angel was, of course, one of those tracks. It was originally written and recorded by Curtis Williams, Jesse Belvin, and Gaynell Hodge of a group called the Penguins. But the Crew Cuts, they once played a 6-night stand in Liverpool, England, where among the crowd were 12-year-old George Harrison and 13-year-old Paul McCartney. And Paul McCartney said that he liked them so much that he actually stayed after one of the shows to get an autograph from the group.
That's awesome.
So a little bit of forerunners of the Beatles there.
Yep.
So
Another prime example of white British folks stealing black American music.
yeah. So April 25th, 1955, born on this exact day, Chip Wilson, aka Dennis Wilson, who was an American businessman and founder of the Lululemon Athletica company, born in Los Angeles,
Nice.
California, on that exact
Okay.
day.
I had no idea on the name until you said that part.
Yeah. Did you think he was a Beach Boy?
I kinda, or like, I don't know where you're going with that.
I believe Dennis Wilson is the name of Beach Boy. Don't quote me
Yeah.
on that though. It's very early again.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
I'm gonna
Beach Boyish.
yeah, I've got a lot of Born this year, so maybe
Okay, cool.
let me run through the list and then try and keep any that in mind that you may want to keep. But it may be hard. There's a lot. Okay. Born this year, 1955. Kevin Costner, Gilbert Gottfried, Steve Jobs, Bruce Willis, Willem Dafoe, Michael Rooker, Bill Nye the Science Guy, Rowan Atkinson, Kelsey Grammer, aka Frasier, Marina Sirtis, who you may know as Deanna Troi from Star Trek The Next Generation, Kate Mulgrew, who you may know as Captain Janeway from Star Trek Voyager. Whoopi Goldberg, who you may know as Guinan from a few Star Trek shows. Butch Vig. And I wrote down here, Butch Vig was fucking 40 years old in the 90s. Are you kidding me? Eddie Van Halen, Angus Young, Pete Shelley from the Buzzcocks, Nick Feldman, a member of Wang Chung, Mick Jones from The Clash, Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols, Billy Idol of Billy Idol, Howie Epstein, bassist from Tom Petty's Heartbreakers, and perhaps my favorite among all of the list, John Hinckley Jr., the would-be Ronald Reagan assassin. And also
Wow,
musician too. He's a guitarist.
That's true. I can't believe all those people were born the same year as the guy from Wang Chung.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the one that stands out.
that's the
to
one
me.
we want to. That's the one we want to pick out.
Yeah.
Huh?
Actually, no, Gilbert and Rowan Atkinson, like those are. Yeah, I mean,
Major
Eddie Van
influences.
Halen was, personal hero of mine for better part of 2 decades. So like,
Yeah, I couldn't believe the
that's a
the
good.
list of 55, and I'm pretty sure I was leaving some off because I was like, this list is getting long.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, that would be like athletes that were in their prime in the 80s too.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure
yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna
and
cover
some of those things, like, yeah, crazy. That's a good list. Yeah.
Yeah, a list so big we're not even taking an aside to talk Whoopi.
No, I mean, that's our view at least. Yeah, we're not gonna sister act.
Trucking on.
Oh, yeah.
Trucking on. So in the USA specifically, the country is changing. The end of the Korean War, about a year and a half in the past, has the country embracing a new kind of peacetime. Specifically, the kind of peacetime where the Cold War becomes more serious and Joseph McCarthy and his Red Scare politics are running rampant, basically making it possible to ruin anyone and everyone who could possibly be accused of being a socialist or a communist. The quote-unquote counterculture is in its infancy. Rock and roll is appearing in a nascent form, and movie stars are becoming younger and younger, becoming the driving force in Hollywood. And then beat writers like Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac are forming the ideological basis for various youth movements that form in opposition of the strict social norms of the 50s and kind of, find their footing in the 60s. This may be a place to shout out, the last episode release we have on our show's timeline is actually the second episode of our sub-series presented by Kyle Reif on kind of the history of krautrock, and he, it talks a lot about it talks primarily about the commune system that pops up in Germany in the 60s, which is kind of, that's one of the offshoots of this youth movement that is starting in the 50s. The
Proto hippies.
yeah, go check that episode out though. I had a lot of fun listening to that one.
Damn fine. Yeah.
Yeah. The president at the time is Dwight D. Eisenhower, and Richard Nixon is vice president. Eisenhower is in the middle of a centrist rebranding, having lost a bunch of congressional seats to Democrats in a midterm election. And he says, quote, "I have just one purpose, and that is to build up a strong, progressive Republican Party in this country. And if the right wing wants to fight, they're going to get it." Yeah. Imagine hearing those words in 2025.
Yeah.
This year he also heads into a re-election campaign, despite initially planning to only serve one term, especially considering that he had a recent heart attack. But he would go on to defeat the Democrat Adlai Stevenson by a wide margin. And his vice president, Richard Nixon, would also go on to get into some stuff, something that I'm sure we'll cover at some point.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yes. We'll run into him. Bob
He's that guy in
Hope-
Futurama, right? In the robot.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
His head rides the robot body. Bob Hope hosts the 27th Academy Awards in the Marlon Brando vehicle On the Waterfront. Is the star of the night, winning Best Picture, Best Director, and 10 more nominations and 8 more wins. Also this year, a Broadway production of Peter Pan becomes the very first stage musical to be broadcast in its entirety on television, and it gains the largest viewership of a TV special ever at that time.
I'm just going to say as a quick aside, I wish they did that more still. I think there's so much potential value in having like those Broadway shows broadcasted, like not just in terms of like quality programming, but also like getting kids to see it and getting like the opportunity to expose people. Like it was an event when Hamilton came to Disney Plus. Like why couldn't other shows get that same treatment?
Yeah. And yeah, I think I forget what the last thing to do it was, but like having it live too is also like a kind of it puts a little extra sauce on it.
Totally.
People are people are watching it like, hey, this is happening right now, and there's no second takes on any of this, and that's how good these people are. But yeah, I definitely agree. Just 10 days prior to the album's release, Ray Kroc opens his first McDonald's in Des Plaines, Illinois. And just 10 days after the album comes out, Jim Henson introduces Kermit the Frog for the first time on his local Washington, D.C. puppet TV show, Sam and Friends.
Oh.
As mentioned,
I had no idea.
Yep. As mentioned, Disneyland in Anaheim opens this year. Little Richard records and releases Tutti Frutti. Actor James Dean dies in a car crash shortly before the release of his film Rebel Without a Cause. In October, Elvis Presley opens a concert for Pat Boone, which is notable because it's Elvis's first performance north of the Mason-Dixon line, and also his first performance that was ever filmed for a music documentary called The Pied Piper of Cleveland.
Interesting.
Yeah, I apparently erased it, but there's an interesting story. Do you remember the alien autopsy that like TV special that Fox did?
Oh yeah.
So apparently the guy who sold that to Fox said that he originally was talking to a film archivist who claimed to have like a pristine copy of the film of Elvis from this documentary, The Pied Piper of Cleveland. But when he got there, the guy said that he doesn't have that. But what he does have is this interesting film from a government alien autopsy. so that's an interesting.
That's how you draw him in, I guess.
The Pied Piper of Cleveland.
Pied Piper of Cleveland has an 8.4 on IMDb. Only 25 ratings though, but interesting. Might have to look around, see if I can dig this one up. It's about the Cleveland disc jockey, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
hosted by disc jockey Bill Randall. Yeah.
There you go. Keep an ear out for IFP Pit Stop, the Pied Piper of Cleveland. In December of this year, Rosa Parks is arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a Montgomery city bus to a white person, which inspired Dr. Martin Luther King and other local ministers to organize the Montgomery bus boycott, accelerating the nascent civil rights movement. And finally, General Motors becomes the first U.S. company to make over $1 billion in a single year. A portent of things to come. Yes.
$1 billion.
Over in the UK, in 1955, at 80 years old and in declining health, Winston Churchill signals that his own reign of terror is coming to an end. His retirement from prime ministership signals a new phase for the UK and officially rings in the end of their World War II era, and introduces the planks of what they know as modern UK society.
Oof.
Most shocking of all for regular listeners of this podcast, here it comes. In the UK, This is a time of economic affluence. They are doing well for once.
Very
Along
isolated
with-
incident. Yeah.
Along with almost full employment for the nation, they have just slightly over 1% unemployment.
Wow.
So in addition to that, American-style consumerism is on the rise. Disposable income budgets are rising and increasing access to things like vacuum cleaners, TVs, refrigerators. Small shops are either being replaced or turning into their first version of supermarkets. And perhaps most importantly for this podcast, the NME itself is now 3 years old, and they have recently established the very first UK music charts,
Nice.
which is basically the reason that they survive for
Yeah.
for a good long chunk of time here. And those charts themselves kind of define and shape the UK, music for years and years and years to come.
Not bad for a 3-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah. The first, over in the UK, the first atomically armed Royal Air Force planes take to the skies. And in June, the Children and Young Persons Harmful Publications Act come into effect, which has the intention of protecting children from horror comic books. The very first ever Guinness Book of World Records is published. BBC Television debuts its news programming, and the first news anchors ever on the BBC are Richard Baker and Kenneth Kendall, their first TV anchors. You can actually
Tom
see
Baker. That was the name of the guy that played Doctor Who, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they may be related. Richard Baker and Kenneth Kendall are my guys
For
here,
for
but I
this
wrote
show's
down,
purposes, they definitely are.
Yeah. Go ahead. Who's gonna stop us?
Yeah. Email us.
You can actually,
Email us if you have a problem.
if you watch 2001: Space Odyssey. I don't know if you remember near the beginning of that movie. There's like a fake news segment where they're sitting down and interviewing the main guy, blanking on his name.
Yeah.
But actually, the news presenter in that segment is Ken Kendall.
Oh, awesome.
So if you want to check him out. And then finally, this year, J.R.R. Tolkien publishes Return of the King, rounding out his Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Nice. See, so you're saying a great fantasy series can be finished.
Yeah, apparently you are allowed.
Oh, okay. Good to know, Mr. Martin.
Well, he didn't have, HBO money to throw around and
True.
distract
true.
him from writing. So, perhaps we should extend some forgiveness to other RRs out there.
Total random aside, we started watching this movie last night. I think it was on either HBO Max or Netflix. It was called Fackham Hall. It was like
Oh,
a parody of like Downton Abbey and things like that. But basically, if you took Downton Abbey and put it with Airplane or Naked Gun Writers, so it was pretty absurd. But
Okay.
for whatever reason, they made J.R.R. Tolkien a character on there, and he's just like constantly, these moments of like, oh, that's a great thing I could put in my book. Say that again. Oh, my precious. Yes. And just like, it's a very odd movie, and we didn't finish it, but I don't know. I might go back today and finish it. We'll see. Very cheeky.
Okay. It was Thackeray House?
Fackham Hall, like Fackham All.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
Fackham Hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perhaps I
Anyway.
shall. Anyway. So, now that we've painted the picture of the world in April 25th, 1955, let's get back to Frank himself. So, once again, coming into these sessions, Frank is not having a great time. He actually has a second So we're in the early 50s. We're a little bit forward in time. He actually has a second failed marriage to the actress Ava Gardner, who we mentioned. He was, I believe, he was
Was the
basically having an
cause of
affair
the
with
first
on-
divorce. Yeah.
Yeah. She actually left him for a matador,
Oh,
which I wonder because that's kind of like a trope, right? Like on TV shows and stuff, like people's spouses leaving them and they go to a matador. I wonder if that's where that comes from.
well, I remember there's a Seinfeld episode. I can't remember the exact one too, where Elaine makes up that she is dating a matador named Eduardo Carocchio.
Yeah,
And it's just like, huh.
it's something that kind of comes up in that way, and I wonder if that's where it originated.
It could be. I mean,
Once again, I'm going to say yes.
it's a pretty oddly specific thing, right?
Yeah, but to coincide with all that trouble, money trouble, he's in a period of declining popularity. He actually has also a failed TV show. People are taking the accusations of his mob ties more seriously. And as you mentioned, I forget if you did mention it, but his last album sales are so poor that Columbia drops him and says that, quote, they couldn't give away Frank Sinatra records. So he's at rock bottom.
Yeah. Try saying that now. Yeah.
Yeah. In 1953, Frank is pretty desperate for success. He answers this by throwing himself back into his, kind of crazy work ethic that you had mentioned. And he tries to establish a new sound for himself as more of a sensitive jazzy singer. And he says he credits it to the sound actually of Billie Holiday, he's a big fan of. And then also he has help from his singing or his songwriting partner Jimmy Van Heusen. And Jimmy actually found success just before this writing for, we just talked about Seinfeld. He was writing for Mel Torme, The Velvet Fog, and also Nat King Cole.
The Velvet Fog.
Yeah. I can't watch a man sing.
Yeah, they get all emotional. And,
Yeah. Speaking of important of things to come, yeah, like the Mel Torme segment of Seinfeld may kind of sum up our feelings on this album.
definitely.
Maybe we should have clipped that. Anyway, so following this kind of hectic period of nonstop recording and acting, and he actually wins an Oscar for his role in a film called From Here to Eternity, which is sort of I think it might sort of be the turnaround point for him. He's thrown himself into live performances, often centered around his new Las Vegas hub, where he becomes one of the first people ever to do the sort of like residency act on the Strip. And he's kind of building his reputation as a big fish in a small pond over there. But this is how he starts to build his new life. And perhaps as a reward and recognition for this, new era and amount of work, he is signed to a new record contract, a eye-popping 7-year deal with Capitol Records. And I didn't write down the guy's name, but there's basically like a very young, new president of Capitol Records who like says, "Fuck you all," like I'm betting big on Frank Sinatra, and everybody's like, "No, don't do it."
Big mistake, pal. Yeah.
Yeah. So right after that, Capitol teams him up with a guy that they know as a kind of young wonder boy. They call it an album arranger, but he's basically like a producer. I'm trying to think. He's a producer and composer for like their kind of orchestras and things like that.
That man is Dr. Dre.
I really wish I could just go on with the rest of the episode and riff on that. Frank Sinatra, producer Dr. Dre. But sadly, or maybe not so sadly, the real guy's name is Nelson Riddle. And their first collaboration together is a song called "I've Got the World on a String," which is one of Frank's classics. And Frank apparently, when he was listening to the playbacks of that song, was so pleased and so convinced that it was good that he was running around yelling, "I'm back, baby, I'm back," and he was pretty he was pretty much
That's
right.
awesome.
Yeah, the single's a huge hit. It solidifies his comeback, and it validates that big bet that the Capitol Records guy put on him. So the working relationship of Sinatra and Riddle, between here and the Wee Small Hours, produces two albums that are kind of they're where Frank mines all his big hits. He's got "I Get a Kick Out of You," "My Funny Valentine," "They Can't Take That Away From Me," "Young at Heart," "Just One of Those Things," etc., etc. And he has kind of a compilation of a lot of these called "Swing Easy," which is a big hit and is named Billboard Album of the Year. So
For
he
greatest
is-
hits.
yeah,
That's
I don't
fair.
know. I think
Yeah.
we'll talk about it, but basically every album before this point is like a compilation / greatest hits album.
Right. Right.
So he is back. He doesn't just think he's back now. Everybody thinks he's back. So firmly real established. Frank's now getting into his third album of the Capitol deal, which is the album of this episode, In the Wee Small Hours. So in the Wee Small Hours, it's produced by the guy Nelson Riddle that we talked about, and also a Capitol A&R man named Voyle Gilmore. It's recorded across 5 sessions between March 1954 and March 1955. Mr. Voyle Gilmore is also known for his work with the Kingston Trio, Judy Garland, Dick Dale, the Four Seasons, and he also later goes on to engineer and audio produce. There's a 1964 series of Beatles performances at the Hollywood Bowl that actually becomes their very first ever live album.
He's got a good portfolio then. Pretty diverse.
Yeah. So the two of them, kind of at Frank's direction, they put together a jazz-inspired kind of core band that perform on every song and then are kind of gussied up with other stuff afterwards. But there's a man named George Van Epps playing guitar, a Bill Miller playing piano, Alvin Stoller on drums, Phil Stevens on bass, and Paul Smith playing something called a Celesta, which is apparently a sort of cross between bells and a piano. So coming into
keyboard-operated percussion instrument invented in 1886, resembling a small upright piano but producing a delicate bell-like sound from felt hammers striking against steel plates.
There you go.
It is famous for its ethereal tone in Tchaikovsky's Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, and often costs several $1,000s.
So if you're trying to imagine the Celesta, there you go.
Yeah.
So one major decision that makes... Oh, 1 second here. Gotta put a clip. I'm getting a 10 sign from my wife. I'm trying to figure out what it was. 1 second. Were you saying I've got 10 minutes, or were you saying we got to go at 10? Huh? Yeah, I'll try and shut it down around 9 here, or soon. Let's see, what do we got? What can I get to? I might be able to get to the aftermath section, and then we can pick it up later today or tomorrow morning whenever you got free. We won't have much after, so okay. Okay, here we go. Mark it one more time. So one of the major decisions that makes In the Wee Small Hours a big deal was kind of a new approach that Frank takes to recording his music. So he's now kind of seemingly mastered the past decade's kind of pop format, which is, as we just mentioned, it's basically an album full of attempts at #1 hits and like compilation albums and things like that. Like just a collection of fun hit singles that people are trying to do. But he wanted to record something different where each track was more coherent with each other, and they all kind of told one story, and they had like a running theme throughout the whole thing. And you know, the theme might not be happy or fun. During the recording, he would refer to the album as quote unquote the Ava album for his now estranged wife, last seen in the arms of a Spanish matador.
Eduardo Carroccio.
Yeah, he's so like that's his idea and that vibe. And so kind of him and Riddle are approaching this in this way of all the songs being connected. And actually, this is kind of the first time that the album as we know albums is being done. So that's kind of like a, I think I referenced it in my mind as, you know, when we were talking about Graham Parsons and we were talking about country rock, or you know that kind of sound. It's having the same effect where we've never lived in a world where Graham Parsons' version of country rock was not a thing.
Right.
We've never lived in a world where the album as a whole, or a concept album, is, and not even a concept album as we know it, but a concept album as just an entire album that has one kind of
theme. Yeah.
Theme, basically. This is the first, you know, we've never lived in a world without that. So it's kind of hard to appreciate that Frank Sinatra in this album invents what we know as albums.
Yeah,
which is a big deal, but it's hard to wrap your mind around.
It is. And you know, you talked about it a little bit yesterday when we were chatting, that like what's the oldest album you love, you know, and it there isn't really much before this, so to speak, you know.
Yeah, I didn't.
You can think of like Big Band Records or you know, this and that, but
when I first came up with that question, I hadn't actually even tied it into the fact that this album is where albums start. So really, you know, if you're looking for your oldest favorite album, you can't really look past this. You can't. There's not much pre 1955 that you can even call an album as we kind of conceive.
I mean, yeah. What are you gonna say? Like Ride of the Valkyries by Wagner on a 33-inch? I mean, like there's not much to go on other than this, you know, at this point. And some big band stuff.
I did write mine down. If you want to, if you want to hash it out now, I did write mine down.
I'd love to hear it. I didn't come to a conclusion yet, but I'd love to hear yours.
Okay. Yeah. So when I was looking at the lists, let's see here. Where's my personal? Okay, so when I was looking at the list, you know, as I mentioned, you can't go past 55 and find anything that kind of qualifies. But, you know, I think in 1959, there are a few jazz releases or blues releases from like Charlie Parker and Miles Davis where I look at them and I'm like, I bet you if I sat down with that and I listened to it, like it would it might qualify. Or, you know, if we're giving bonus points for how old something is versus how much we like it, like those would probably have a lot of bonus points for being old, and I would still like them, so they would qualify. But I think if I'm being really honest, and the question is, you know, what's the oldest album that you already, you know, like, and is probably, you know, is already saved on your streaming service list and things like that. If I'm being really honest, I think 1962 is where it starts, because once I looked at, you know, kind of the best albums from the years as it goes on, that's the one that jumped out at me because it had, number one, it had Surfin' USA by the Beach Boys, which is the second album where they really start cooking. Yeah. And it also had In Dreams by Roy Orbison, which I know is an album that I've listened to and I like a lot. It actually kicks off with In Dreams, the famous Blue Velvet. A candy-colored clown they call the Sandman tiptoes to my room every night.
Man, who thought you'd be tuning in to a Frank Sinatra episode to get some crooning by our wonderful Freddie Titchwater?
Okay, I'm gonna cut us off there. We got to get it ready for a kid's birthday party at 10. But I would suspect maybe if Vince is playing video games late tonight, or if you've got any time tomorrow morning, we can probably kill it off.
I think I'll be free by like 8:40 tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I'm
we can
sure I'll be around tonight.
we can attempt that. I don't think I've got anything else going on tomorrow morning.
Okay, cool.
Alrighty. Put